One of the kids at my job wrote me a nice letter. Dear Mr. Walker, you are ugly. Kids will say the most messed up stuff and then do a cartwheel like nothing happened. My mummy said I can't eat at your house because you're a witch. Cartwheels. Unmistakable evidence of the domesticated 5-year-old. When my niece was little, she burst out crying at school during a drug talk because her dad sells drugs. He's a pharmacist. It's been an hour since they started looking for their car keys that their kid buried in the sand. She put sunscreen on this rock so it doesn't burn. How to lose at hide and seek. Me. Eyes closed. 1, 2, 3. 4-year-old. Dad, can I hide in your shirt? I'll play this with my 5-year-old niece sometimes and I'll pretend I don't immediately know where she is because I'm not an a-hole. But if I do that for more than 10 seconds, she will scream, I'm here! And then get surprised whenever I find her after she screams that. My 2-year-old using her binoculars to look at ants. Got new doors installed. He doesn't realize one of his favorite hide and seek spots have been severely compromised. Son came home from work and had a cooked asparagus in his workbook. He says he doesn't remember how it got there. My son, taking his mouse for a walk around the garden. I just told my son that he could mind control me if he rubbed his fingertips all over my head and chanted, mind control, quietly. And that is how you get a free scalp massage from your kids. When I was like 5, I was in the car with my mum and she was drinking a water bottle. I thought that was drinking and driving, so I proceeded to tell everybody that my mum drinks and drives all the time. You nearly went to foster care. When a 7-year-old tries to eat a muffin, told my daughter to hide so we could scare her mum when she got home from work. Pretty sure she saw us. My friend's son struggling to pick up a book. Mum just told me that when one of my sisters saw a chicken for the first time, aged 18 months, she laughed so hard she vomited. Yeah, chickens are goofy. They're goofy looking. My daughter is planning her first sleepover. I'm concerned about number 2, summon a demon. Yeah, I'd be concerned about that too. Ask how she's gonna do it. Turns out it's not ice cream. It was sand. How couldn't you tell? My little brother played the draw logos from memory game. This is a lot better than what I would do. Playing hide and seek with my daughter in the forest. Told my kids I was building garden beds. 15 minutes later, and they're still looking for it. I gave him his own pot of dirt to water now, after he waterboarded my poor succulents to death. He wants to get on the bus. The bus is on the TV. My 10-year-old brother is throwing a 3-hour tantrum because he can't put my phone in the water. 2-year-old insisted that the puzzle is built like this. I like this, I see the vision. Caught 3 boys carrying their mum's TV across the parking lot of my place to play Fortnite at one of the other's houses. I watched it get dropped plus tumble down a hill. They said they have to now buy her a new TV on Amazon for $200. I gave them $5 and wished them the best. Today, my 7-year-old came into the room crying. I asked him what happened, and he said that his 5-year-old brother put 80 cows in his house in Minecraft while he was offline, and that it was entirely too many cows. And honest to Christ, I have no idea how to parent any of this. I just overheard our 3-year-old son tell my wife, Mummy, when you're older, you'll be a doggy and then you'll poop outside. She is admittedly not looking forward to that particular transition in her golden years. Just found this contract in our playroom, written by my older son and signed by my younger son. You agree to play this game, so if you get hurt, you cannot tell on me. Yes. My 14-year-old cousin wants me to proofread an original essay he wrote with the help of a thesaurus. When you think your son is sleeping, but it turns out he's rubbed an entire massive tub of pseudocreme all over himself and is now identifying as a ghost. Someone decided to play in some glue while I was feeding Theo and glued his hand shut in a fist. Let's hope soaking will get it unstuck. I told a 7-year-old to be quiet and he said, literally 1984, and I burst out laughing. How am I supposed to be serious after that? I love this generation. My mum got fired from her job when I was little and I cried because I thought that meant they were going to light her on fire. Featuring my friend's child who got stuck in a cat tunnel and thought he was going to die. 2-year-old put crayons in the dishwasher. There's no coming back from that. He's stuck under the kitchen table. Nap time, I guess. She brought her bedtime snacks. When I was a kid, I really wanted to swim in the hippo pool at the zoo and was always upset when the zookeeper would say no when I asked. Said, you can pick one toy, and she chose a mango, an edible toy. 4-year-old spent 10 minutes telling me about his grazed knee and how it really hurts. But when he showed me it looked fine, he got mad that I couldn't see the graze. Then he realized he was showing me the wrong knee. When you come upstairs to find your kid has destroyed 25 pounds to create new faces for her dolls. Minutes after putting the 5-year-old to bed, I heard tragic pillow muffled sobs. I went back into his room. He struggled to collect himself, then finally gasped, Connecticut is boring. Cleaning up the kitchen, yelled to the other room because it's surprisingly quiet. Hey Nolan, what are you doing? Don't worry mama, I'm hiding it. Hiding what? Hiding what? Hiding what? We still don't know to this day what Nolan was hiding. I used to turtle up when I was really mad. My 7-year-old staring at my face. Me. What is it, sweetie? My 7-year-old. Is my nose weird too? Kids are delightful. Sneak level, probably about 2, but still effective. I don't think this is even a level 2. This is like 0. You see how they've taken a bite out of the ice cream, but not out of the letters? This is not working. When I was a kid, I had this game called Worm Church, where I would bring worms to my room and read them the Bible, preaching to worms. So I caught my son making potions. Caught my toddler questioning the baby. He wanted my newborn baby to admit that he can talk. Told the baby, I know you can talk. It was a full-on interrogation. I'm not letting him watch Boss Baby no more. He's tweaking. What's the dumbest thing you believed as a child? When I was a preschooler, my mom told me that you weren't allowed to ride a motorcycle or get tattoos unless your mother was dead. One day, outside the grocery store, I saw a big, tough-looking dude covered in tats, straddling the loudest motorcycle ever. Damned it, 5-year-old me went up to him and asked, hey, is your mom dead? Dude looked at me and said, yeah. I was shocked that my mom was right. I remember when my dad told me that cheese with holes in was called hiccup cheese because the cows had hiccups when they made it. I carried that until I was 18. Got laughed at the pub. Told the story a couple years later. I was laughed at it again for thinking cows made cheese. My 5-year-old asked me if we could go to someone else's house because he says we go to our house a lot. The funniest thing that's ever happened to me as a parent is once my 2-year-old was having a full-on meltdown and accidentally kicked an electronic toy dinosaur and it went, can you feed me? And my son, through massive sobs, goes, no, I can't right now, dinosaur, and continued screaming. My Father's Day present from my oldest, who always keeps it real. My hero is Mummy. Damn. When I was 7, I said that I wanted to be emo. My mum said that emos pull their toenails off. Later that night, I wrapped my feet in blankets in fear that the emos would come out from under my bed and pull my toenails off. I've had that fear since then. Me. So my husband, first grader. You have a husband? I do, the whole time you've known me. Oh, I always thought you were feral. Do you mean single? Whatever the word is that you use for stray cats. Toddler. Dad, I want toast. Me. Okay, buddy, here's some toast. I don't like butter on my toast. Flips toast over to the dry side and hands it back. There you go. Thanks, Dad. I babysat a 2-year-old once who called her dad Daddy and her mum Pancake. I swallowed a penny when I was little. What's the stupidest thing you did as a child? Okay, look, my mum was working there at the time and she had me with her. I was sitting in the office and there was this shiny button under the computer and I thought it was going in sync with the board that would light up on the wall. So I pressed the button over 40 times back to back, not knowing it was the damn panic button. They had the store surrounded all because of me. Ran out of toilet paper. I asked my 3-year-old to bring me some from the other restroom. Here's what she brought me, in this exact form. My brother used to think that a man sat under the escalators and operated them. He also thought that man's name was James and that was his real dad, not our dad. Every time we passed the escalators at the mall, my brother would scream at our dad, "You're not my real dad, James is my real dad." This little girl came in the spot I'm at, 7 years old, ordered a whole pizza, mozzarella cheese sticks, and a drink. Pulled out $4 and a bunch of change. When they told her she didn't have enough money, she yelled, "I'm only 7." Her mama came in here and she said she sent her in to get 1 slice of pizza. She got a bag of food. Kids are funny. There's sibling rivalry. Then there's my 4-year-old daughter faking a phone call from her 1-year-old brother's nursery to tell us that we don't have to collect him today because he's going to live there now and he won't even miss us. We're at Sky Zone and I saw one kid say to another kid, "Isn't this funny? Watch," and punches herself in the face. Once when I was a little kid, my family was out at a fancy restaurant and I ran over to the table next to us and asked the woman sitting there, "Excuse me, ma'am, are you fat?" I'm never allowed to forget this. Was she fat? I have no memory of the actual event, but according to my parents, yes, she was massive. Kid behind me on this plane has asked and then answered 1 million pertinent questions about our flight, including, how do pilots use the bathroom? Guess what? They don't. Pilots don't have butts. My toddler, who was not previously accustomed to being awake after dark, just looked outside and screamed, "Where is the backyard?" When I was a little kid, I think I was 6, I overheard my older brother in middle school. I did not know what the word crush meant and thought it meant he wanted to crush her. So I told her my brother hated her. 9-year-old son, who would win in a fight between a hippo and a lion? Me? I don't know, maybe the hippo because he's big and can stomp him? Wrong, the lion has a knife, and he never carried a pizza again. Well, now he knows if he carries a pizza, he's gotta carry it correctly. This reminds me of the time I made a pizza. Well, I think it was a pizza. I made some food anyway, and Oreo jumped up on the kitchen counter and ate it all. Just robbed me. Bro, year 7 me was wild. After school detention reason. Pretending to do the deed with the table. Repeatedly asked to stop but carried on. Remembering that one time in kindergarten where I gave the invitations to my birthday to my teacher who handed them out. After noticing not everyone got one girl asked why she didn't get one. I replied, because I don't like you. I wish I still had that level of confidence. The first movie my mum took me to when I was a kid was Lady and the Tramp, and when they got to the scene where the dogs ate the spaghetti, I assumed that spaghetti was dog food, and then I started bawling, thinking my mum had cruelly been feeding me dog food all these years. And to make matters worse, spaghetti was my favorite food. What was the first movie you remember seeing? It was Cinderella. Trying to go peacefully in a public toilet. Go away! My little sister watched Inner Space, and she collected 4 ants and put them in a Lego ship. Her excuse, I want to show the ants my organs and What is wrong with your sister? This is not normal. Totally unrelated, but when I was a kid I used to pee in the rain because I was wet already. One day I was on my way to school and saw the rain coming from a mile away, so I decided to wet myself pre-rain. It never arrived. And then you learned a valuable lesson to not piss yourself. When I was younger, I remember someone telling me that if a rat bit you, you'll get rabies. My stupid self thought that meant you would give birth to rat babies. Conversations with a 6-year-old. How was your day? Yeah, fine. It's anti-bullying week at school. Oh yeah? What does that mean? It means I'm not allowed to bully anyone for a whole week. When I grow up, I want to be normal because I don't think that I could have a job. My 2.5-year-old goes to daycare with identical twins named Maria and Aurelia, but she calls them Maria and more Maria. Hello. I just smoked an 8-pound pork butt for 9 hours because my kids said they would eat pulled pork. 5 minutes before it was done, they all said they wanted hot dogs instead. And if that doesn't sum up parenting, I don't know what does. I told my kids that I've traveled around the sun 43 times, then watched their minds melt as they struggled to picture the same dad, who can barely parallel park at the helm of a rocket ship. When you can't read but you're, oh no, don't let her drink chicken broth. Throwback to when my daughter was 9 and obsessed with mermaids. She wanted to be one so bad she found a spell on YouTube that would turn her into one. Watching her gagging from trying to eat sardines while reciting a spell with her feet in a bucket of water for an hour was magical. Woman in my train carriage smoothly telling the conductor that her son is traveling free because he's only 4, while the kid repeatedly yells, but I'm not 4. I still have a memory of my dad trying to explain a situation like this to me, and I did not listen. I still wanted to say how old I was. I just witnessed a child have a meltdown in the pumpkin patch because he wanted to go to the pumpkin patch that he was standing in. You guys parent every day? Toddler accidentally cursed himself into an identity crisis today. He's been crossing stuff out with chalk. He asked me to write his name for him, crossed it out, and had a panicked meltdown because he thought it meant he didn't exist anymore. Every hour or so he asks me, am I his name? And wants reassuring hugs. I'm enjoying the implication that he was perfectly delighted with arbitrarily erasing things from existence until it affected him personally. My 3-year-old, is this the right shoe, mummy? No. Him, switching feet. Is this the right shoe, mummy? There's only 2. Yes. I took a picture of a kid's chest x-ray to show the family. He had pneumonia. I showed the kid and he gasped. Then, in an awestruck voice, he said, I have a skeleton. Well, he's not losing his sense of humor. Hope he's okay now. Few more names that start with G. According to 8-year-old me, which one are you naming your kid? If I had to choose between all of these, Jenna. Was at Michael's and this girl was staring longingly at the stuffed animals and says, I wish I was still a kid. And her dad next to her goes, you're 10. When I was 4, my brother annoyed me so badly, I beat him in the head with a wooden sandal and I knocked him out, but I thought he was dead, so I put a blanket over him and told my mum I had to run away, and I wouldn't tell her why. 9-year-old cousin, do you smoke? Yeah. Do you know that smoking shortens your life? Yeah, I know. How old are you? 18. You would have been 28 by now. Shout out to my 6-year-old who, during one of her Zoom classes, brought the laptop into the bathroom while I was taking a shower, causing me to scream, turn off the camera, several times while she screamed, I can't hear you because you're taking a shower. Kid in my son's class explained to me that she was sure he has 2 mums because he has the pretty mum and the other mum. She described each to me in great detail. Reader, both of me. What, with and without makeup? 4-year-old, can we get a kitten? Me, I'm allergic. We can't be in the same house. You could sleep outside. I like this kid. He's gonna go far. 4-year-old daughter is crying her eyes out. Me, what's wrong, Tutu? 4-year-old, moving her hands on the sofa. If my fingers were markers, they would ruin the sofa. But your fingers are not markers. I said if. Happened while I was working at a summer camp as a nature instructor. Kid came up to me apropos of nothing, holding a huge handful of leaves and said, hey, is this poison ivy? It was. This reminds me of a story story one of my middle school teachers told us. I was in a boarding school where we stayed at school 5 days a week. 90% of us never lived on our own until then, so some of the students can be very awkward when it comes to taking care of themselves. One student started crying during breakfast when a staff asked what happened and he said, "The egg is hard and I cannot eat it." It turned out he had never peeled an egg for the first 12 years of his life because his parents did that for him all the time. "Pop, please help, I forgot my Chromebook. Pop, let's bring to school. Send it quick, Pop." Never mind, Mum's bringing it. Luca asks what this is. I told him it's an emergency radio. He says, "Oh, for when you just need to hear music." My nephew, 3 years old, broke a glass in my kitchen yesterday. My fault for giving him a glass, it happens. I told him to get out of the kitchen because glass shards are everywhere, and I had to clean the floor before he could come in again. The glass he broke had juice and he was still thirsty. I told him, "I'll get you another orange juice soon, but I have to clean this up before we do anything else." Dude looks me dead in the eyes to assert dominance, kneels down and licks the kitchen floor. Cried when I was 5 because my sister was pregnant. They told me I was going to be an aunt and I heard aunt and I freaked out. In Target, little girl in checkout line, "I'm gonna see a cow today." Wow, that sounds so cool. Mom of girl, please ignore her. She's trying to say her grandma, but she heard me call her a cow today and she won't stop repeating it. The kids are romanticizing quarantine. I'd give the world to experience 2020 as a teenager. I was 10, same. For me, quarantine wasn't too bad, but I'm lucky. I think it was bad for most people. I knew a boy named Sean, regular class, teacher would call his name, and his twin named Sean, PE, would see his name only written. It was way too long until I realized they were the same kid. Draw a pentagon and a rectangle. I quit. After a heated argument with my teen who yelled out that he wanted to move out, my youngest put his arms around me and said, "Don't worry, Mom, I'll live here until I'm 60. I think he meant it to be comforting. It was not. Apparently the kids at summer camp are obsessed with playing an in-real-life version of Among Us, and today I helped scheme with other interns and counselors to come up with a list of tasks, which is really just chores to be done around the farm that we don't want to do. And they love it. The kids love it. Thank you, Among Us. You're so funny, Dylan. Please notice me, like if you agree. I agree with you. Same. Earlier, my daughter asked me if grown-ups ever cry. I sat down with her, hugged her, and explained that grown-ups do cry, and that we feel scared, sad, angry, and everything she feels, and it's fine to feel those things. She then asked if grown-ups pee. Classroom rules: sit up, no cherry pits. Use your whole brain or something. I don't know, I was drawing when she said. My son, 13, wanted me to take him to the ER because he couldn't hear out of one of his ears. After a little questioning, it turns out that one of his earbuds stopped working. I really wish I was making this up. The teacher asked my kindergartner what his favorite season was, and he said, garlic salt. My older brother convinced me that vampires lived in the basement. So for months, I would put tons of lotion on my neck for protection since the lotion tasted terrible. When my brother realized what I was doing, he told me that I was just making my neck more tender for the vampires. My cousin one time was singing a song and I heard it on the radio the next day. I was so proud of him thinking it was his song. How disappointed I was when I found out people were allowed to sing songs they didn't write. I asked if she wanted milk. She said no, kept saying no. I thought fine because she drank half of it on the table. So I said crib? She says no. I say mummy put you to sleep? She say no. I say milk? She says no. We go through all 3 questions 10 times. I decide to just pick up the bottle and give it to her. Then she drinks the whole thing and points at the crib and says, love you. She was playing you. Sebastian is throwing a tantrum because Santi cleaned up more than him. I was in a shopping mall when the fire alarm went off and people started going to the exits. I laughed so hard when I heard a mother saying to her child, of course not. All those people are not running away from a cockroach. When I was about 8, I wanted to convince this kid at my Hebrew school that I was smart. So I told him I could build a nuclear bomb. He asked if I could build one for him and I replied with, first I have to wait until the materials come to my house. And I kept that up for like 3 years before he caught on. I love watching kids meet dogs. They're always like, my grandma has one just like this, except she's red and small and doesn't bark and has 3 legs and is a lizard and now she's dead. Madison's eaten 3/4 of a chicken and cheese quesadilla. The last quarter, she realizes it has chicken and cheese and isn't a pancake. She flies into a fit of crying and screaming that I lied and broke her little baby heart. I never said it was a pancake, but go off. There was a massive unflushed jobby in the toilet. Okay, for the people who aren't Scottish, jobby is a natural log. I asked my boys who did it, and my 10-year-old son said it was him. My 5-year-old son is crying because he says it was him, and Big Brother is trying to take the credit. Have a great week, everyone. 9-year-old didn't want to try my lemon loaf, but when I rebranded it as lemon cake, he was interested. Yeah, lemon loaf doesn't sound that nice. Lemonade cake. Lemon lemon cake sounds better. I do not Mike. You do Mike? Do not join. Need girlfriend 1110. I hope that's not an old man doing that, because that would be a lot weirder. Bought a watermelon several months ago. It was quickly lost and I assumed someone threw it away by accident. However, while cleaning my kids' playroom, I found it in their toy fridge. 2-year-old eating his lunch. Papa's coffee's hot. Yeah, it's hot, don't touch. Me blowing it? It was at this point I witnessed with horror my 2-year-old attempt to blow on my freshly made coffee, only to spill a half-eaten chicken nugget straight into it. I could have went way worse. Do you ever personify objects and then feel bad for them? Like, for example, I have 2 watches. Whenever I wear one over the other, I get worried that what if the other watch feels sad that I didn't pick it? Am I okay? Do I need to get a therapist? Yes, one time back in 1st grade, my teacher told us to color an apple. Cut out the color of our favorite flavor. Red for Red Delicious, green for Granny Smith, and yellow for Golden Delicious. So I colored mine all 3 colors because I didn't want to choose one flavor and have the other flavors feeling bad. I went by Rocky in kindergarten because of this movie. First day of school, my teacher went around and asked our names and then wrote them out on a card on our desk, and I hated mine. So I said, Rocky. She asked how to spell it and I said R-O-K-Y. And she asked if there was a C in there, so I said yeah. Flash forward like 6 weeks and I did something good, so my teacher sent me home with a happy gram and it had the name Rocky on it. So my mum asked and eventually figured out I had been going by Rocky the entire school year. I still get joked around for it almost 30 years later. My 14-year-old is babysitting for the first time and I just got this text from him. So once they're all asleep, do I just go or wait? Yes, honey, you have to stay the whole time. They aren't old enough to be left alone. Oh, okay, thanks. His arm is not hurt. His brother needed a band-aid. Plus, needed one too. You can use it like normal. Being a parent sometimes means a frantic effort to get your kid breakfasted, dressed, and in the car, only to pull up to the school's drop-off zone 2 minutes before school starts and have them say, but I'm not wearing any shoes. There have been at least 20 times where I've worn slippers to school instead of my actual school shoes. I was an idiot. I was half asleep every time I was waking up. My son is terrified of the Loch Ness Monster. Absolutely terrified. Keeps asking me questions about it. Can it get out of the lock? Is the lock far away? No idea where he even heard about it. I told him it can drive and could be in our town in about 20 minutes. Eats little boys. Eats wee boys. This guy is Scottish. One time my doctor had me leave the patient room to go pee in a cup and I was like 8. So I came back double fisting 2 cups that were completely full to the brim. What was I thinking? That was too much piss. All he wanted was a sample. I'm still haunted by this today.